Hi everybody, it's Pat Huntoon from Technique Junkies, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a crinkly look using foil. We use heat transfer foil, but you don't need to use heat. You can just use your Bake Shop. We are starting with Thermoweb's Deco Foil Transfer Gel Duo, and it says two-way use, heat or no heat. And we are actually going to be using this today without heat. So let me show you what we're doing. So I am starting, I'm going to do this in black and I'm going to do this in white so you can see. I'm starting with the stencil, and I'm actually taking the stencil and I'm going to spray the back with Pixie Spray, which is a low tack adhesive that allows you to hold the stencil firmly against your cardstock, yet it's reusable. You could use it a couple of times and reposition it. It doesn't lift up the paper when it's lifted off. It's an amazing thing. Okay, so I have sprayed my stencil, and I actually spray my stencil into a trash can because I find that it is adhesive and I don't want everything sticky, so I do it right over the top of my trash can. Make sure you're working in a ventilated space though, because it is a spray adhesive. So I'm just going to put that to the side, and I've had this sitting face up for a minute or so, and you can't really see the tack on it, but trust me, it's there. And I'm going to start with white. I put the stencil right over the white piece of paper, and it's sticking nice and firmly now. So I'm going to be using a palette knife. You can use a credit card or a plastic butter knife. You'll get the same effect. So I'm going to take some out. I'm going to put it through, and then I'm going to butter this. And when I do this, I like to think of like butter. When you butter your toast, you don't press so hard into the toast that you lift up the crumbs, right? So you want to put the gel through the stencil without actually pulling it out of the stencil. So I actually try to go over the piece only one time. This needs to set or be dry. And there's two ways you can do that. First of all, and the easiest way, and why I love this so much, is that you can use a heat tool with it. So I can actually heat this with a heat tool. To dry it, you want to move your heat tool around a lot. You don't want to hold it in one spot. Okay, so I'm going to lift this off, and you can hear that peel just gently. And that is what my little paw prints look like. This is what they look like wet. Now again, I can heat this or I can let it sit and air dry. It takes about an hour to air dry depending on the thickness. This is one that I air dried earlier. When I turn it, can you see how shiny that is? That's the desired effect. It's a tiny bit tacky, but I could let this sit I've had it sit 4 or 5 days, a week in between shows, and have it still work effectively. So you can do a whole bunch of these and set them aside if you want. Okay, so that's white. I'm going to wipe that up. And again, I'm gonna place this tacky side down right over the top of the black piece, and I'm going to do the same thing with black. I'm just going to put it all over the black. You can see a little bit better on this one that this goes on white, which is very helpful. It's opaque, because when it dries clear. All right, so now I have my two dry pieces, and we are going to use heat transfer foil, and this is 4 inches by 25 feet. Now 25 feet is a heck of a lot of foil. You can get 50 backgrounds out of every one of these rolls. So what I have here is rose gold. You can see I charge $8.95, and this is rose gold. And we're going to be using bright gold. We're mixing 2 colors for this particular technique. So what I'm going to do is cut. I'm going to move this out of the way because it's a little tiny sticky. I'm going to cut a few pieces of this. It doesn't even have to be nicely cut. It doesn't have to be even. My fingers are a little sticky still because I didn't wash them yet. Just going to do a few pieces. I'm going to do 3, 4 pieces of each. Cut each one up a little bit. Look, I'm butchering this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you about this technique. This is a great technique to use if you have scraps. If you have big edges of your scraps that are unused from other projects, this is a great technique to use this on. Just make sure that when you do it, that every part of the image, in this case the paw prints, is covered. So I don't know if that's enough, but we're going to find out. Okay, so you know how we're always trying to keep our foil nice and uncrinkled? Well, forget all that. So I'm going to crinkle that up, and Always, 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 you have color up. Otherwise, you have a silver background. You want color up, nice and crinkly. And I'm going to put it on there. And I'm going to kind of smooth out, keeping those crinkles. Okay, I'm pushing down, smoothing out a little bit. So I'm going to do some rose gold, a little bit of gold. I'm going to take this piece and lift up the whole thing. Be careful to leave my crinkles on there. You might actually find it easier to do right on your plate. So what I'm using is a sandwich that I would use for a small die or an embossing folder. Okay, so I'm putting that on top. And this top plate is very important. If you have a top plate with cuts in it, you're going to see the cuts. So you don't want to use cuts. You want to make sure that your top plate is clean. If you do not have an uncut top plate, you must put a piece of paper over this. Although this is a funkier kind of technique, and it is meant to be a little distressed looking, you don't need the cuts too. It's too much. So I'm just going to lift that whole thing up. I'm going to put that into my die cutting machine and give that a roll through. Ooh, look at that. I peel it off as I go. So some of it came off already, but the rest of it I'm just going to push down a little bit. Even though the Big Shot already did that, I'm going to take these pieces off. Gentle peeling. Oh, and look at that. Can you see how crinkly and foily and... Oh, look at how crinkly that is. It's so cool looking in person. It is just really, really quite cool. I hope you can catch those crinkles. It's just really great. So that is how you do it. Let me show you on black. I think you're going to really appreciate it on black. Okay, let's do the reveal here. Ooh, super crinkly, paw printy. Super cool. I don't know. I almost think I prefer it on white. It is cool on black. You can really see the crinkles. But something about this white one and the white showing through just gives it a little bit more distressy look. I don't know. They're both pretty cool. So what you can do with these is just put an image right over the top of them. I'm going to show you. I gold embossed Advice from a Cat. Actually, I think I'm going to put that on this one. And I gold embossed Advice from a Dog. So you notice these paw prints work well with either of these. And with a little bit of layering, those are two perfect cards. Thank you for watching today. That's the end of our tutorial showing you how to make crinkly, distressed looking stencil pieces using a paw print in this one, but you could use any of your stencils. There is a kit that I showed at the beginning of the video, and that is available for you with a little bit of discount on the heat transfer foil and the stencil and the stamps. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching today. Please subscribe to our channel for future tutorials from Technique Junkies. Bye now.